Well, good morning. Welcome to Thought for the Day. I'm sorry it's going to be a bit late going out, but hopefully better late than never. Been thinking about food recently. We started having Zoom meals again after a bit of a break. We did it first during the first lockdown when we were completely constrained to be by ourselves. But as things opened up, the kind of habit faded out. But as things seem to be started to be more restricted, we thought we need to pick up the habit again. And as you do when you are eating together, we talked about food. It made me wonder, as we were chatting, how has COVID affected what we eat? For Helen and myself, I don't think there's been a big change. We have started making bread. We were given a second-hand bread maker, which means that every couple of days there's this wonderful smell of bread starts to drift through the house just before lunchtime. Makes me be very hungry at that time of day. We never eat out a lot. We still get fish and chips occasionally. We're trying to go over to the cafe on the shops just to support them and also just to get out in the community every now and then. So those things continue. But of course, the big thing that's changed is that we're no longer having people round for meals, and so the things we used to cook when other people come, as slightly more special dishes, we're not really cooking anymore. Um, and it just made me think that this whole business of cooking for others is quite significant. That's why I've titled this talk "What You Are, What You Cook," because there's something really motivating about cooking for other people, isn't there? You kind of want to make it special. You're prepared to put that extra effort in, which is hard to do for yourself. As we're talking in our Zoom meal, we realised this issue of cooking is quite challenging for people who live alone. What are you going to do if you live alone and you can't get out to be with other people? There's always the McDonald's option, but if you've seen the film Super Size Me, you'll know that that's not very healthy either for your body or for your mind. But all the same, it is hard to get the motivation to cook for yourself, to make the effort to cook. Cooking for one and cooking a portion size for one person is a bit of a challenge. Having got the motivation to cook, you then cook, but you throw a bit of everything in, and suddenly you realize you're eating a vast meal. Maybe the technique there is to recognize you're going to cook more and cook for 2 or 3 days, put it back in the fridge and enjoy a much quicker meal the next day. So you can kind of work at it, but you have to work at it to cook for yourself when uh, COVID restrictions keep you by yourself. But it does matter what we cook for other people. Um, a pastor I used to know a lot of respect for. He had one of his mottos was when we meet, we eat. And so whenever they had church meetings, wherever possible, he would have those church meetings over food. He said it did enormous things for relationships. There is something about meeting together over a meal, isn't there? And I was just struck that when Jesus' best friend, the Apostle John, wrote his account of life with Jesus, it begins and ends with a meal. After Jesus has called his disciples together, the first thing John records them doing together is going to a wedding, to a feast. On this occasion, Jesus was the one who provided the wine rather than the food. But then at the end, the last time together that John records in his gospel is, I think, an even more poignant gathering. It's round a campfire by the lakeside. They've had a bad night's fishing. They've seen this man on the shore who's said to them, "Throw your nets on the other side." They've got this enormous catch of fish, and then they look again and they see that he's got a campfire. There's already fish and bread warming up on the campfire. There's like this smell of warm bread, the smell of freshly cooked fish, and they share this last meal together around the campfire on the beach. Don't know what's happened to their catch of fish. I think the time with Jesus has meant they've been put in the boat, and they'll deal with those fish later. because the meal with Jesus is the precious thing. And afterwards, you probably know the story, afterwards, as the embers are dying down, Jesus takes just one of them aside, Peter, who just a few days earlier had denied Jesus, had let him down. Jesus takes him aside and he reinstates him. He restores him. He says, "It's okay. I've still got this job for you." And that picture is a beautiful one. Isn't that what meals are for? Eating together. The just the pleasure of being together, the companionship, and then the conversations, the restoring, building up conversations. I'm really looking forward to a time when they can be much more a regular part of our church life. I long to sit down around the table with you at your home or ours, maybe in a cafe sometimes, and share a meal, share the conversation, restore and build each other up. In the meantime, let's continue to try and find ways to share meals. We may have to do it electronically over Zoom or WhatsApp or Facebook, but it is worth doing. It's not quite the same, but it's better than nothing. And if you can't do even that, at least take the time and the effort to cook for ourselves. Think through what we can cook. Learn to cook something different. Do a meal that will last a few days. That's worth keeping for a few days. Maybe you'll learn to cook something, in which case I really look forward to enjoying that with you, because you are what you cook. So may God bless you and give you a great day today. I'll see you soon.